Hey everybody, Natalie Kettler-Welsh here, the go-to girl for social media and networking. Welcome to another module for the 7 Secrets online membership program. Now, today I'm going to talk about Facebook ads. So as you know, there's lots of other videos and checklists and challenges within the 7 Secrets that talk about networking as well as touching on social media because very much they are interrelated, the online and offline networking and social media. But today I'm really going to go a bit deeper into Facebook ads and how you can benefit your business by doing targeted ads for your ideal client. So first of all, grab a pen and paper because I'm going to want you to take some notes before we go into the screen share that I'm going to do. So hopefully you've got that sorted. You can pause the video if you need to. So I want you to grab a piece of pen and paper, and I want you to write down what is your goal. So when you're doing a Facebook ad, know your goal. So first of all, write down what is your goal. So your goal at the moment might be just to grow your following on Facebook. So it's a likes campaign. So your goal is to get more likes. And with that type of an ad, we're going to send them to your Facebook page. And we're going to choose a certain photo and a certain tagline that's really going to be compelling and stand out in the newsfeed that's going to get them to click and like your page, which they can do without even visiting your page. They just have to click the ad. So that's awesome. Otherwise, your goal might be to grow your leads. So you might be sending people to your website. If you're a product-based business, maybe you're going to go to a certain page within your website. Or maybe you're running a webinar and you're really wanting to grow your leads, meaning the email signups that you get, so that later on you can nurture them with your amazing emails and offering high-value content, helpful and friendly advice, and then eventually inviting them to work with you or buy your product. So your goal might be either usually likes or leads. So just have a little minute and write down for yourself what your actual goal is at the moment with your Facebook ad. Okay, great, because that's something we're going to have to act on when you go in to set up your ad. The other thing that I'm just going to point out so I don't forget is it's really important to check the Facebook rules. Now, Facebook loves to change the game and just keep you guessing. So it's always really important to check the Facebook rules. You can look in the 7 Secrets group, and I will be updating now and then anything that stand out that's different within the rules. But one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is you're not allowed to do Facebook ads that invite people to work from home. So anything along the lines of making money from home, quit your job, that kind of thing, you can get pinged for that, meaning it will suspend, Facebook can suspend or even delete your Facebook account so you can't do ads. So just avoid those things. Other things to avoid are anything around weight loss. So don't do direct, that can be your product or your service, but you can't actively in an ad be saying, lose weight now, or you're showing massive before and after type photos. You just have to be a really bit careful around your wording with weight loss and working from home. Those are 2 examples. I think there's a few more examples. I will put any updates in the 7 Secrets private group, but just make sure you take it upon yourself to check the Facebook rules along the lines of advertising before you go live with your ad. Okay, so with that being said, let's go in and have a look at some things you want to consider. So I'm going to share the screen now. And we'll go in. We're going to talk about knowing your goal, which I previously mentioned. So knowing your goal, here we go. Whether it's likes or leads, signups, know your budget, right? So some people will just think, you know what, I just want to spend $50. I've got an event coming up. I really want to just get more people to sign up for it. I'm going to spend $50 to market that with Facebook ads. Whereas other people will decide to just have an ongoing ad. And once you find that an ad is working well for you, it totally makes sense to actually have an ongoing ad. For example, $5 a day with an image and a headline that you know works, and you're just going to keep growing your database or keep growing your leads, depending on what your goal is. Also, this is really cool. Please go ahead on your piece of paper and write down 3 other pages where your people are hanging out. So your ideal client, what other Facebook pages are they liking and following? Okay, so just go ahead and write that down on a piece of paper for the moment. We're going to come back to that. So I'll just give you an example so you know what I'm talking about. For my parenting blog, for example, if only they told me, when I'm setting up a Facebook ad, I can, in the interest section, I will target KidSpot New Zealand or Plunkett or Nigel Latta. That's where my people are hanging out, right? So my people are moms with kids age 5 and under. So you might, with your own business hat on, write down 3 other pages on Facebook where your people are hanging out. Okay, so write that down and we're going to come back to it. Again, just so I don't forget, I want to mention the Facebook Pixel. This is really cool. What you can do is you can get the Facebook Pixel on your website. Just get your website person to do it, or I've got a virtual assistant that got mine. But basically, it's a certain code that you put from your Facebook page onto your website. And what it'll do is if people visit your website because you did a blog and brought them there, or you did a special on your product and brought them there, you can then retarget your ads to those specific people. So they've already shown an interest in you. They've already been to your website. And now when they go to Facebook, they're like, oh, that's a bit quirky. Like, isn't that interesting? I was just looking at their website and here's an ad all about their product or service. It's actually not a coincidence. It's because you've probably done the same thing where this has happened to you. It's because they have the retargeting pixel on their website. So that's something you can do as well on your website. So get your website person to show you that, and it's pretty cool. So now I'm just going to go in. Actually, I think I have another slide that I want to show you. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, you want to choose images that evoke emotion. So they either make people really like happy or even really sad. So just some sort of really emotive image. Contrasting colors work well. Remember, you're competing with everybody else in the newsfeed. So sometimes, even though it's your branding colors are not green and yellow, those are colors you don't often see in the newsfeed. And so sometimes those types of colors are going to stand out, and people's eye will be drawn to those images. And so sometimes it's a matter of using contrasting colors, always choosing a headline that attracts, doing split testing, which I will talk about in a moment. And then you're checking your insights to see what's working and tweaking as you go along. To give you a bit of a money guideline, if you're doing an ad and you're getting results like it's 30 to 50 cents per like, then you're doing well. That's pretty good. If it's much higher than that, you're going to want to tweak something because you're kind of spending too much money. And for a lead, it's slightly more expensive. This is to get people to click through to your website or sign up for a webinar, etc. It's about $1.50 per lead, and that's pretty good as a gauge, just so you've got a bit of a guideline to go by. All right, so we'll get rid of that. Okay. Great. So now I'm going to show you the behind the scenes of how to set up your own Facebook ad for your own business. Okay. So this is my personal page. So I'm going to go over to the drop down on the right-hand side. This is where I get to choose what I want to do. So I actually want to, this time I want to create an ad. So I'm just going to click create ads here. And it's going to take me to the behind the scenes of creating an ad. It gives me all sorts of options, but just remember what we talked about initially. Don't get too overwhelmed. Do you want to get leads or likes? So in this case, if I wanted to get leads, that means I want someone to go to my website or my lead page or whatever, I would click that box. But in this case, I'm just going to show you a simple likes ad. It doesn't even say likes, so that's a bit confusing, but it says promote your page. And then over on the right, it says use the page likes objective to promote your Facebook page. Great, so I'll click that one. Over on the right, it says, what page do you want to send them to? Well, I'll choose GoToGirl as an example. And then we're in to win. So just cast your eyes over to the right-hand side here. It says audience definition. It's telling me my audience is too broad, which is fine because I haven't even got in here yet to tweak it. So what you can do is you can either export from your database, so export from Aweber or MailChimp, your database and upload it to Facebook as a custom audience. For example, if you've got lots of followers on your email list, or you've got lots of people on your email list, but they're not even following you, or a lot of them aren't following you on Facebook. They haven't liked your page. So you can target them just to make sure that they like your page. But in this case, I'm actually just going to choose a certain audience based on geography. So here I am. I'm just going to type in United States into the little box here, and it comes up, and I'm like, yep, I want to add the United States to the list. And hey, while we're at it, let's do my home country of Canada. So let's do Canada. Great. So you can add as many countries as you want. And what you'll notice is over on the right-hand side, the arrow will, as I define my audience more and more and really niche down, it will change the arrow. It'll just shift along to be more defined or more specific. So I've decided I want to target people in New Zealand, US, Canada, and actually I do want to include the Aussies as well, and Australia in this particular ad. Great. Now, for me, my ideal client is not 18. So so you guys will know who your ideal client is generally based on who you've been working with and also who you love working with. So focus on that. So for me, I'm going to go 34, 65 is a bit old for my ideal client. So I'm going to just change that up and I'm going to go to 50. For me, my clients are women. Yours might be both or men, so just make sure you tweak that. Languages, I'm just going to go English. Great. Okay, now this next section is where we get really interesting, okay? Because remember earlier we discussed writing down 3 pages where your people are hanging out. These are Facebook pages that you can target the likers of these pages. It's so cool. So in here, in the interests, of course, you can write down keywords. So I could write down small business, social media, etc. That's completely fine. And if people are using those words in their status updates, it would come up and target them. But for this scenario, I'm actually going to, so I can do both those things. Let's just say I choose social media. But I'm also going to target the fans of, let's see, okay, so Marie Forleo is one. Actually, I'm going to target Mari Smith. So she's a Facebook expert, and she's got people following her that want to learn more about how to use Facebook and social media. So that's perfect for me. So I'm targeting her audience of 400,000 people, her likers. And as you can see, as I'm tweaking this, the arrow up here on the right-hand side has moved along. So now I'm getting even more defined. In fact, it says I am defined enough that I can now proceed with my ad. But if I wanted to, I could be even more specific. So I know a lot of people do follow Marie Forleo for her amazing business and lifestyle advice, and that is what I offer. So I'm more than just Facebook, of course, as you know. So I might target her likers as well. She's got the 900,000 likers. So okay, so I'll just leave it at that, but you get the idea. So when you do your ad, you can include the 3 or 5 or 7 or just 2 pages where your people are hanging out. Now, in order to come up in the search, they need to be big enough to be recognized. So if you type something in and it's not coming up, it's just because obviously they don't have enough likes to come up in the suggestions. But you can see here how, because I've done Marie Forleo, for example, now Facebook is suggesting to me, you've suggested Marie, well, why not also Tony Robbins? So they kind of can come up with some suggestions for you, which is really cool. Okay, so for Tony Robbins obviously would be a great choice for those of you who are life coaches, for example. Now is where I get to go down and hone in on how much money I want to spend. So in the budget, you can choose the per day or you can choose lifetime. Lifetime, see, automatically it went to 600. I certainly don't want to do 600, but I might want to do 60. So remember earlier I said, let's say you've got a webinar coming up or a workshop and you just want to know how much money you're going to spend. You've got $60 allocated. Great. So you might do a lifetime budget. And the thing with the lifetime budget is it as you go along, the money just ticks away, meaning it might take a week, it might take 3 weeks, but that you'll only spend $60. Whereas otherwise you can set the start and the end date. So otherwise I might choose to do a per day where I'm spending, here it is suggesting to me $12. I'm like, yeah, that sounds fine. And either, this is where people can go wrong, so listen in here, either run my ad continuously starting today, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but some people do that by mistake and they forget to check their ads, and then 3 months later they realize they've been spending $12 a day. So just make sure you know what you're doing. So either you want to run your ad continuously, or you want to start a start and finish date. I would recommend, if you've never done advertising before, definitely click this box to set a start and end date, because I suggest you run your ad for about 2 weeks and see what works and make the tweaks. And once you figure out what really works, that's when you can run it continuously, when you know you're spending money, but it's actually making you money. And you might have heard me say it before, spend $20, make $200, and then it becomes a no-brainer. But there is a little bit of research you need to do beforehand. So here's an example. So I might decide I'm just going to run it from today. And I think naturally it just defaults to 1 month. So I might decide, actually, I don't really want it for a month. I just want to run it for like a couple of weeks or something like that. I think this is actually only 1 week. So let's just say I want to run it for 1 week at $12 a day. And it's telling me now you're going to spend $83.99. So that's cool. It's letting me know what I'm spending. And by doing this, I'm approximately going to reach between about 1,200 to 3,200 people a day. And those people are going to be people that are living in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, or US, who have used the word social media or are likers of Marie Smith or Marie Forleo. And this is really important here. It's excluding people who like GoToGirl social media networking. What that means, and it's just down here, is that because I'm doing a likes campaign, I don't want to pay money for people who already like my page to see my ad, because that's just silly. So this is really important that this is what it automatically did for me, and I'm going to leave it at that. It's excluding people who already like my page, which is really cool. If I was doing one of the other types, a lead ad, Sometimes I think, actually, I do want to target people that already like me. They already know, like, and trust me. It's just that they're not seeing my posts. So in that case, I would want to include my existing likers. I hope that makes sense. But for the particular ad that I'm doing, which is I'm trying to get new likes, I don't want to pay for my existing likers to see my ad, right? Got it? Sweet. Now is the case of choosing the images. Now you're allowed to upload up to 6 images, which is totally cool. However, what I recommend is that you do some split testing. What I mean by that is that you try out one image with all the stuff that we've defined already, the audience we've defined, the tagline that we're about to define, but we just have one specific image. So like the image that I already have, let's just say I choose that. I'm not going to add any other images. But what I am going to do once I make this go live is I'm going to just duplicate this Facebook ad, which means I'm going for the exact same audience and I'm targeting Marie Smith and Marie Forleo and all that stuff. I'm not changing anything except the image. It needs to be scientific, right? Just like when you're back in school doing science experiments, you need to have only one variable, and the variable is the image in this case. Right? So I might set up 3 different ads with the exact same audience, and the only difference between those 3 ads is the image. Okay? And then what I let it do is I just let it roll for like 2 or 3 days, and I don't pull anything until after about 2 or 3 days when I see which ones have the best click through, meaning I'm not paying masses of money to get the likes. Okay, so remember back a few minutes ago, I said between 30 and 50 cents per like is really good. So if I find that one image is really resonating with people and everyone's liking it, then I'm going to stick with that image and I'm going to delete the other 2. Okay, so usually when you're doing a split test, it's going to be a bit more expensive from the start because you're actually paying for 3 ads. And maybe I wouldn't do $12 a day. Maybe I'd just do $5 a day to start off. But I'm actually running 3 ads at $5 a day. So obviously it's going to be costing me $15 a day. And let's just say I run it for 5 days. But after 2 days, I start going in and start looking at the numbers. And maybe I decide, actually, that one with that particular image is not working. I'm going to delete it. Okay. So there, I mean, this is this is something that people pay lots of money. I know that my great friend, Mari Connor, who's got some amazing tips, she'll probably change her rate, but at the moment it's $1,500 for her to set up an ad for you. So I'm just saying, if you're going to do it on your own, expect to invest a little bit of money, right, just in the research stages, because once you get the research sorted and you know what works, then you can bring the money down and it's not going to be as expensive on a daily spend because you know you've chosen the right image and the right tagline because you've done your split testing. Okay, cool. So I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions, pop them in the private Facebook group for the 7 secrets. So once you've chosen your image, you can come down here and see what it's going to look like. So this is showing me what it's going to look like on the desktop. Okay, you can also click here and see what it's going to look like on the mobile. So if people, as 80% of people are, they're on the mobile, that's what they're going to see. And then on the right-hand column, when they're on their Facebook page, this is what it's going to look like. So they're like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. The image looks fine. Because otherwise, what you might want to do is just tweak the image. You can go into Canva or Photoshop and choose the exact correct dimensions for a Facebook ad. And so that's probably one of the top things you might want to do is choose 3 images and get them all zhuzhed up in Canva and then have them ready to upload. So the other thing you want to look at is the text. So what it's naturally done is it's just sucked in from my short description what I'm all about. And so it says connecting women in business by making social media networking easy, fun, and fabulous. That's fine. I can leave it at that. Otherwise, because I am going for likes, I might choose it to something like click like if you love running your own business. Just as an example, right? And then women, and I'm targeting women who are running their own business and they see this and they're like, yeah, I love running my own business. And then they go ahead and they click it and they like my page. And you can see how it appears here. They can just like my page without even going to my page, which is super awesome. So remember I talked about split testing. You can do split testing with your image, which is great, and I recommend doing that. Once you know which image is working, then you can split test with the tagline or the headline. So for example, I might put on one, I know this particular image works, so now I'm going to play around with the tagline. On one of them, I'll say, click like if you love running your own business. On another one, I'll say, click like if you love being your own boss. I've actually tried that in the past, and it didn't really work very well. So I think people were a bit confused about the wording. Maybe if I'd used girl boss or something like that, which is kind of trending, people might have clicked it. But click like if you love running your own business is actually really clear that it's specifically about people running their own business. Whereas if I said click like if you love being your own boss, it just didn't resonate with people. And that's what split testing is all about. It's about finding what resonates with people and what's going to get you the best results so that you can get more fans following your page, so that you can then nurture them with amazing emails and webinars, and they can become your raving fans, your amazing customers and clients. So I hope that makes sense and gives you a little bit of insight about how you can set up a targeted Facebook ad. Of course, then I would come down here, click place order. After I place the order, that's when it lets me duplicate and do the next split test. Again, like I said before, if you've got any questions, then please go ahead and pop them in the 7 Secrets Facebook group. But that basically is the short and sweet of how you set up a Facebook ad for your business, right? So to recap, know the rules, know your goal. Are you going for likes? Or are you going for leads? And choose 3 images, split test those images, see what works, and then you can start split testing your taglines and see what works. And before you know it, you'll have an amazing ad that you can just keep running at $5 a day, and it'll be making you $50 a day, meaning eventually those leads will turn into clients and you'll be making money, and you can see that it's worth your while. And Facebook ads are so relevant because Facebook is just moving towards this pay-to-play model where it's not showing your general day-to-day posts to very many people. So sometimes you do need to set up a targeted Facebook ad. In another video, I'll be talking about boosts, but in short, boosts are just a really quicker and easier version of doing ads, but you can't really get quite as specific. Great. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and I look forward to seeing you in the 7 Secrets group.